2026 has been the year we've seen a shift from agents, AI agents being more in a demo or a prototype form to starting to be productionized. And agents allow you to go from essentially AI's tool usage to AI being something that can be treated as a coworker, it can automate workflows. These used to be the highly defensible moats of vertical SaaS companies. And I think now with AI, it's very clear that a lot of that defensibility will be commoditized. Although in general, our sense is the market may have overreacted. We don't view it as software basically is dead, but that is what triggered the market sell-off. It's more software is probably reborn. And the cost to actually produce the workflows and the things that were traditional SaaS capabilities, those are going to be, those are getting cheap, but the context, the data that the AI models and the agents need to perform their jobs, that actually is still expensive. So we think software is going to take a different shape. The idea of a seat-based pricing model, which is how SaaS was delivered, that probably will go away, but we do think there's going to be a whole innovation, creativity wave around AI agents as the new form of enterprise software.
Is the market overestimating at this point the speed at which enterprise can adopt these AI tools?
The answer is it depends. As it relates to organizations and users and employees understanding how to use AI, there is what we call a diffusion lag because training is required. Not everybody is familiar with AI. On the other hand, what we've seen with agents and the fact that a digital autonomous AI agent can actually at this point become a coworker, and that again is what triggered some of the sell-off. That property of AI may allow it to enter into organizations much more rapidly than I think we expected or many people expected.
Ravi, just want to get back to Anthropic. They're clearly winning a lot of mind share right now, but competition is intense from other frontier labs and model companies, as well as we've seen the ability for markets to be very disrupted, such as DeepSeek moment a year ago. Why you're one of the early investors in Anthropic? Why do you remain bullish that this is a company that can continue to be a leader in the enterprise?
Anthropic, from the beginning, they've had two very mission-oriented focuses, and it really stems from the co-founders, seven of them, Dario in particular, who's the CEO. But number one is the view that safety, or the idea that trust technologies, in addition to AI, just the actual intelligence of the model, that is critical to be delivered into the market. The second is that if we're going to use these AI technologies, they have to be delivered in a way that they are enterprise grade and they can scale and they, can be on the frontier of intelligence. The frontier is where we believe the value will accrue, is where you can solve the highest value enterprise and institutional problems with AI. If you trail off into, not being on the frontier, you get commoditized rapidly. So those two properties and those two things that the company has always been focused on is what we believed would allow them to ultimately have this high value opportunity and to continue to scale. And they've been quite successful. They have talent density, which is needed if you're going to stay on the intelligence frontier. They have really a maniacal focus on this idea of trust and safety technologies, giving large enterprises and governments confidence to go with their technology and deploy it, not just test it as a prototype. So we saw those things early. They've stayed very focused and again have, I think, led both on staying at the edge of frontier intelligence for solving real world business problems with their models, and then also delivering this trusted, safe version of AI that will give people confidence to move into deployment and not just test the systems out.
There is this sort of debate and viewpoint that perhaps OpenAI is on the back foot because of the developments that Anthropic's made, and given the intense competition in this space. Do you view it that way?
I think in the enterprise market there's some truth to that. This idea of trust and safety. The first place where you're really seeing it now play out is when AI moves from being a tool to truly being a digital coworker. And now you're trying to, you're trusting the AI system to go and run for long periods of time and work independently. That's simply a place where people will not do it unless they have confidence that the systems are auditable, are can be observable because they're transparent, and frankly can be aligned in certain ways. And I think what we're seeing now with Claude Code in particular, coding is really the first place where you've seen agents take on this much greater responsibility of working for a long time. And Anthropic launched a product called Claude Code, which was the first of the highly agentic coding agents, and it's been unprecedented growth. In 6 months, revenues grew from 0 to $1 billion in revenues. I think today, 8 or 9 months in, it's crossed $2 billion in revenues, and that's really a testament to the fact that if you have AI intelligence that can operate independently, and you trust that it will do the work properly, and that you can go back and understand what it did and why it did it, you will see a rapid adoption, because the productivity benefits are so great.
Ravi, you mentioned being on the frontier is key, and clearly Anthropic, OpenAI, and Google, these are some of the frontier labs. But we are also seeing continued innovation out of China. I think in the last 2 weeks alone, we saw some pretty big advances on video models, on physical AI models, on even just the large language models as well. How big of competition right now is China posing? Because it felt like after the DeepSeek moment, China kind of went out the conversation, but there has been continued development coming out of that market.
China is absolutely a very, very credible competitor in the AI race. They have an enormous number of AI researchers and engineers. They have access to enough compute infrastructure that they are able to compete in producing models of today's intelligence frontier levels. Our belief is, as you move towards additional frontier capabilities in the next generation of models, you need even more compute infrastructure to be able to train those models. And there, our sense is for the US and for allied countries, there is still more compute that's accessible, and that should allow a slight lead. But I'd say it's not a foregone conclusion that any one country today will ultimately win in terms of having a decisive advantage of building the most frontier capable models.